Hey everybody, Mobile Gamers Unite. So as most of you may know, I did get Lambda last night on video, so it was pretty cool. And I'm still smiling about it today because I've actually taken the time to read and play with her and figure everything out for her and really kind of gauge where she's at in Langrisser and just how awesome she is. And yeah, still smiling. So pretty much I'm going to address the first thing that I think I kind of missed yesterday, just kind of looking through her stuff and just being like, well, she doesn't need free strike. I mean, it'd be kind of a waste since you have ice missile. I didn't really think all through it that much, but no. Free strike is actually pretty good to have because if she doesn't proc clock and she runs out of her big badass abilities to throw ice missile and white dragon's breath, then she still has an attack for one skill point that's close range, and it's going to do 1.5 as opposed to having to do some sort of just basic attack. So this can be useful because it only takes up one slot and it does give her an actual magic attack at close range. Now, of course, we're talking about if you don't want to run Sacred Tree Shield. You will run Sacred Tree Shield here and there. It's kind of a niche thing. Okay, it really depends on what kind of party you're trying to do. If you're trying to move them through a forest or some sort of terrain trick, then yeah, this is going to be sweet. But typically, if you want this girl to go to battle with the most firepower that she can carry, then yes, you're going to be giving up Sacred Tree Shield for something that just gives her a little more bang bang. And this is definitely one of the things that can do that. And I noticed this in my Guild War. Well, the Guild War that I ran yesterday, the clock kept procking. And even in the one I ran today, clock procced a few times. She just was wiping parties out. And then it didn't, so I started thinking about it, and I was like, actually, it'd be good to have free strike right now because I was just having to do a basic attack with her since, I had to wait for the cooldowns for her for these two gnarly ass abilities, which were just wiping parties out. So that's when I started thinking about that, and that's also why I'm probably going to be keeping the staff on her that I have. Now, obviously, if you have a miracle staff, yeah, that's the way to go. So this is by no means like her best in slot, okay? But I will be keeping the purgatory staff on her because, yes, it's going to give her intelligence and a lot of it, and that's pretty much what this girl needs to hurt you. It's nice and basic and simple like that, okay? But this, pretty much what this does is just give me a little bit of insurance. Like, if the enemy survives, he's going to get hit with the AoE, obviously, on his way to her. He's going to be attack broken already. If her clock doesn't proc, and she has to do a basic attack, she can use free strike because she'll probably have that instead of that nature walk. She can use free strike, so she's going to do 1.5 damage, and then she's going to attach a sticky bomb onto you. Those go a long way, man. I've seen those go a long way, and I see them now working on. I don't know if they work on dragon. No, I don't think they do. All I know is fixed damage works on dragons now, as long as it's your stat base, and that's been awesome. So much fun with that, and that damage does stack up just like I thought it would. Over the course of 10 turns, hell, if you're dishing out 3,000-4,000 damage worth of fixed damage, then hey, that's 20,000 hit points that you don't have to worry about on a dragon. That's pretty cool. That's very nice. So, anyway. But that's what I think about Purgatory on her now. Obviously, if I had another Miracle Staff and this girl could just be throwing debuffs with all her AoEs too, yeah, I'd do that. I definitely would. But I think Purgatory still works, and there's a couple other staffs that work. Really, her staff game, I think, is flexible. She can She can make do with a lot of different staffs and be nasty in a lot of different ways. And Purgatory is just one of them because it's going to give her that sticky bomb. And remember, this girl's intelligence is an S stat. So you're getting S stat sticky bombs. Yeah, S stat sticky bombs. I love it. That's what you're getting, okay? So I had a Galaxy Cloak to throw on her. And by the way, this is her gear that I'm working on. It's for her. Everybody else has their own gear, so I'm not really swapping gear. And this is where mine's at right now. She's at 4K. I don't have a Trust Mastery for her yet. I'm working on it. And then I will be putting runes into this girl just because of how gnarly she is. And with abilities like this, it's not just PvP. She's like PvE gold too. Because you can steamroll that AoE crap all over the place. So she's just PV everything awesome. Really, she is. It's great. Okay? Okay. So the Wraith I have on her, it's more of a support item. Now, I could have put a Soul Stealer headdress on her, but I started thinking about that, and this girl can kind of stay in the back because she's got reach with everything. So instead of putting debuffing equipment on her, I would rather have her putting buffs on because this girl's going to work from the shadows. She's going to be standing around your support characters, your rogues, your attack characters that are like lurking in the shadows. She's going to be lurking back there with them. And while she's doing that, she can apply buffs to them, especially from what's the other hat too? It's the yellow version of this hat. And pretty much what you want is just a headpiece that gives any sort of extra magic defense, but negate stun, buff negation, and speed decrease effects for 1 turn. So that's just nice to have her back there throwing that around. I think that's nicer for me than the Soul Stealer headdress, which will, get rid of buffs or something off of somebody from 3 blocks away, or something that will debuff somebody 3 blocks away. Because the thing is, I don't really see this girl getting 3 blocks away from the enemy that often, unless she absolutely has to. She has a reach of like 10 blocks without boots. With boots, she has a reach of 11 blocks. That's how far away she can touch you. And she can steamroll that shit. So, yeah, I don't think she really needs to get close to the enemy for any reason at all. Really. IMO. So unless there's something I'm not seeing, you guys can go ahead and correct me on that. But again, this is just the build that I have. And also, I just happen to have these items laying around. And yeah, they're pretty basic. But I got the Dropnir. Yeah, this thing's cool. I put this on her because, first of all, intelligence plus 4.5%. That's what you want. You want intelligence on this girl. That's it. Go ham on intelligence. You want to be the most intelligent person ever with this girl, okay? Intelligence 4.5 when attacking with ranged attacks. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. When attacked with a ranged attack, reflects damage taken this time by 20%. That's sweet, okay? And this item is not leveled up, okay? And the thing is, you got to really think about what's going to hit this girl. Okay, really what's going to get to her, you're probably going to get tagged with some long-range attack. That's ultimately what's going to end up happening because this girl keeps her distance, so obviously the only thing you really got to worry about is people shooting stuff back at you. You got to worry about other snipers taking shots at you when you're a character like this. So I think this item fits well because, anything that is a threat to her, now she's going to reflect some of that damage. This girl already has an S stat for her magic defense. And that's why. Because she needs to be able to survive another mage's attack so they can go at it. And really, I think long range is what you kind of have to worry about as far as taking damage with her. So I think this item actually fits her very, very well. And it's kind of funny because I just had this thing sitting around, like I have other stuff for my other characters, and this item was sitting there collecting dust, so it's so nice that I get to equip this stuff. It's like I've just had all this stuff waiting to be put on her. This headpiece, of course, I took from my Almeda. But that's because I haven't been running Elmeta as much. With the other, healers that I have, I mean, I still bring her, don't get me wrong. She's at like 3,500 power level, and I use her for debuffs, okay? But most of the time, I will run Liana, who's only at 2,500 power level, just because of Act Again. And I have cleared level 65 content with Liana in my party, and she survived the fight, if I do recall. So that's how I feel about that. But, after really examining this character and what she can do, I think this is a decent item set for her. I'm sure if you look up like best in slot, some of it might be. I don't know. I mean, you could put different cloaks on her. I just went with the Galaxy Cloak because I had one, and it's given magic defense. And hit points is always nice, just to have a little cushion with your mages. But really, it's for the magic defense. That is a stat for this girl. So now it's all about just getting really good enhancements for her and leveling these items up. I might mess around with the staff a little bit and see what I can do with different staffs, but I'd have to take it off of another one of my characters, so I think I'm just going to leave her like this for now. She's been running great. Clock, I will advocate for Clock on this girl, just because of that 5-turn cooldown ability. That's like her strongest ability. Like, you want that thing to proc. That can change a whole battle for you. If you get to throw that back to back, and with all the attack breaks that you're throwing out on the masses, that's just really cool, and that's ultimately what you want from this girl. That's when she shines. That's when she looks cool. It even has its own little green beam animation. It's sweet. I love it. I think it's great. So this is why she's built like this and with Clock. And I'm sure you can get away with other builds too, but it also, I mean, there's a lot of mages that use Clock, because I think Sylphaniel's the only one that has a built-in Clock with her talent. So Clock works on a lot of mages because, I mean, if they're the type of mage that sits there and just constantly blasts their ability, which ultimately is what a mage does, anytime they have a 5-turn cooldown ability that you want to spam, you're just going to go to Clock. So by default, Clock is like really good for most mages, period. It's hard to find a mage that would really prefer a different rune set than Clock. So, but they are out there. Sylphaniel, for instance, has no need for Clock at all because she has it built in to her talent, and it procs every turn. Like, every turn you get -3 or 4 to your cooldowns. That's what makes her so amazing. But you have to get her to 6-star. So, but yeah, so this girl, a little bit of luck base can turn the whole battle. But even if Clock doesn't proc, in worst case scenario, you have to wait for your turns. That's why she has some of these other abilities that are only a 3-turn cooldown. That Holy Ray that she has. And that's really what I was looking at this too, because these take up 2 skill points. But I mean, if you did want to maybe put magic runes on her just to see if you could get like some gnarly max damage and throw around some AoEs, this Holy Missile, this is nice to have. And personally, I might spend the runestone to get this. Let me tell you why, before you think it's just completely crazy to spend a runestone to get this. And if anybody disagrees with me, just kind of let me know. Here's my whole theory on this, and this is for PvP. All right, some of the gnarliest creatures you will fight in PvP are actually demons because they have the highest stats. Even Rennie's a great example. You're gonna spend runestones on her to get some of her abilities from her mage class, but in the end, you want her to be a demon because she's gonna have higher stats, and they're like higher base stats, and they actually make quite the huge difference. Alright, so demons make character pretty gnarly with higher stats to deal with in PvP. So to have an AoE ability, that this girl specializes using AoEs and she shines with them, to have that just means a lot. So I think you can do a lot with that in Arena, and I think that is why they put Holy Missile up here. And this whole dispels one buff, that's awesome too. That's actually great. You know, this isn't one of these. This is a straight line, so you can line people up, and that's another thing I like. This all favors skill-based play. It's all about lining people up and seeing how many you can tag with one of these line abilities, and I think that's cool because I like the reach on them. Because when she does these, it's everything hit in a path. So that's, Sigma has reach like this too, but he's only going to target a single target. Of course, Sigma's going to do like 1.6 or whatever damage it is. It's definitely more than 0.33. Okay, and Sigma's also going to get plus, 20% damage from his talent, and then plus whatever from being in a forest, and +1 to his range. So she can reach out and tap somebody pretty well and be a very, very annoying nuisance, especially with all these little extra damage to demons. But really, Sigma's going to be the one that can reach out and one-shot somebody. So, but between the two of them, it's nice because you got these characters that can prod people from a distance. And then, Sigma can move in for a kill and then be out. And then you got a tank like Landius that can cover for them and retaliate with ranged. It gets pretty gnarly, so I can definitely see why you less. Like when I go onto Summit and I'm fighting like a Chinese whale that looks at what I have and kind of, he probably figures I have some good stuff too. The first thing he does is ban Yles. That's the first thing that they go for. It hasn't failed. And like I said, as a result, I've actually got to run my strongest character, which was my Bernie, because, yeah, you can't see power levels. You can just see that they're level 60. So I even thought about my alt account, leaving some characters at level like 58. And putting all my best gear on them and getting their power all the way up, and then taking a bunch of dud characters at level 60 to let people get rid of those characters and make me play with my level 58 characters, thinking that's giving them an edge when really their power level is 3 or 4 times what the other characters were. I don't know. I think it'd be funny. Anyway, Holy Missile, important. Really, I can see how you would put runestones into this girl. And then another thing, Thunderstorm here, she's going to get to increase the range of all these because they are AoEs, okay? And Thunderstorm's great. With her range increase, that should not be overlooked. The fact is, these have a 3-turn cooldown. So you can run her with some of her 3-turn cooldown abilities, okay, and still get bonuses to her AoE-ness because that's what she specializes in, and have 3-turn cooldowns to deal with instead of a 5-turn cooldown in case you don't want to run clock and you want to run magic and get 10% more damage and 5% more AoE damage. So, or just any other runes, So I think that's pretty cool because then you only have 3-turn cooldowns to deal with. You don't have to rely on I hope clock procs. So I don't know. However you want to build her, she's pretty awesome, and I'm sure she would do a little bit more damage with her AoEs with the magic. But I don't know. I don't think it's worth giving up the clock, period, for her. But regardless, these other abilities are still nice. And even if you're running her with clock, I can put on a 3-turn ability, and if my 5-turn ability doesn't if it doesn't clock, then I can have a 3-turn cooldown and still keep throwing AoEs. So that's important too. So like I said, I'm going to rune this girl out. I only have 7 runestones right now on my main, so I'm really trying to figure out how I want to spend them, and I haven't gotten around to it yet, but she is definitely on that list of getting some runes to eat. So she's definitely probably like top 2 right now, and I will be thinking about that later. I'm not doing it yet. I don't even have the resources. I don't even have the gold. I am so strapped right now. I did not plan on getting these new characters. I planned on just working on, my other characters that I've been working on. But oh man, because we just got these limited banners, we pulled really gnarly strong characters. We have those to work on. I've even started noticing how powerful Estelle is, and I'm kind of gathering some data on her right now and running her, like seeing how cheer works with fusions and how much of a difference that actually makes. And then on top of that, you can't really just go by cheer and a fusion, because she also has some of the craziest best support abilities built into her talent. The fact that she can give 4 or 5 people plus 20% more damage just every turn is just, I don't know, guys. I'm definitely looking into it. I'm going to give you a heads up. I will be coming out on a video on Estelle and how I think she is one of the most overlooked and underrated troops or champions in this game right now. So that's soon to come. I'm just letting you know kind of what I'm working on and what I'm doing. I like to keep my people posted, all right? So you guys have an awesome day. This is really what I think of Lambda after I've actually played with her. And obviously mine's at a 4,000 power level. It's not the best in the world, but it's also nothing to spit at. I got a good idea of how this girl works. When your character gets to 4,000, you already got a pretty good idea of how that character is going to work, how he's going to perform. So I'm not just reading this off of a wiki or whatever. I wouldn't do that to you guys. I do test these abilities out to make sure that they actually work as they're described. I've already found indiscrepancies, and luckily and awesomely, and I'm happily saying that this character, it works exactly as she's described. Everything works awesome. I'm super happy with her and really excited to start running her. So, Mobile Gamers Unite, you guys have an awesome day, and hit like, hit subscribe, tell a friend, tell a buddy, bring a pal. Have a nice day, everybody. Peace.